Well, you heard the players. They gave the setup high marks, rave reviews for this golf course. 78-45. That is the longest U.S. Open course in history. Hardest hole was the par 3 6, 252 yards. The easiest was the par 5 18th. There were 62 birdies, 4 eagles there. 6 bogey-free rounds. Fowler had the low round at 65. Low AMs at this point. Scheffler at 3 under. Cam Champ at 2 under. The low qualifier is Xander Schauffele. 44 rounds under par. That is a day one U.S. Open record, beating Medina in 1990. The winning score that year ended up at 8 under. Taylor when beating Mike Donald in a playoff. That brings us to Walk the Course, presented by FootJoy. And Frank, where are you taking us?
7,800 yards plus of golf course. You're going to have holes in excess of 500 yards that are par fours. The scoring average today, believe it or not, Brownell, you pointed this out, was actually under the par of 4. And it ranked the 14th easiest hole on the golf course. I mean, it's quite remarkable. This fairway is 50 yards wide. Ideally, that's what you want to do. Hit it 320 yards down the fairway. You can hit it in the fairway, then you can have about 190 yards into the middle of the green. That itself would be ideal. A nice shot there. You couldn't draw it up any better than that. There's a little bunker on the left side. It's a little bit of a dome of a green. But remember, 514 yards of par 4. And somehow, this hole played under par. So really, how did the best players in the world play it? How did they make birdie there? They pretty much did it exactly the way in which we just drew this up. Just stood on that tee and they thumped it down to this bunker on the right side, and it's amazing the collection of golf balls you'll see. Virtually, you could lay a couple of blankets over that. Carbon copy there. The exception there on that left there in the fescue, that was actually Mark Leishman, who actually does punch it out just short of the green. From there on in, with the exception of Mark Leishman, they all make the green, and relatively good birdie opportunities. Just Mark Leishman made that third shot from just under 80 yards. But look at that tight pattern. It's amazing to think that's how far golf has gone. 514 yards of par 4 placed comfortably under its par of 4.
Brandon, what other hole did you sort of enjoy watching today?
Well, I enjoyed watching 15. My goodness, it's just a little bitty, short little. I mean, it's a beautiful green. Don't get me wrong, but it's 357 yards on the card, and it had the equal number of double bogeys of number 6, which is 252 yards. So there were 7 double bogeys at the 15th hole. There was one other. And so the disparity, Frank just pointed out a hole that was 515 yards long that played under 4. The 15th was 357, and it played quite a bit over par. So there are lots of ways to beguile the best players in the world. It's not always with just distance, that's for sure. But the difficulty of that green and the difficulty of that approach is a fun place to go out and watch.
David, record number of rounds under par. We just noted that. What, if anything, might the USGA do in response to that in the setup for round 2?
It's fairly easy to speculate that they'll tighten the screws a little bit. Again, we talked about it really being an unknown entity in a U.S. Open round of golf. 156 of the best players in the world. I think that they had to be cautious and safe in the setup, and I think they were. I believe they love this golf course. We've raved about it. And I think they want to come back here, so you don't want to make it too difficult. And you got to figure out exactly what the parameters are when you can set up how you can set up this golf course. You know, interesting. I was looking. I was asking Reed earlier that what's the average driving distance on the PGA Tour? It's 289 yards. Well, the average today was 15 yards longer. So really, even though we're at 7,800 yards, it kind of backs it down. Even with all the moisture on this golf course as it received, it's still playing fast. And I'm anxious to see if we can avoid some of the rain they're talking about, how fast it can get going, because it actually doesn't play quite to that yardage. The ball is still really running out off the tees.
All right, let's hear what some of the players had to say about the setup round number 1 at Erin Hills.
If you're ever going to get a U.S. Open and be able to score, today was the day. The fairways were semi-soft, the wind was not blowing too hard, and the greens were receptive. So if you hit the ball in the fairway, which are fairly big, you could score.
Soft as you can get. You know, mid irons are holding pretty well. You know, you gotta be concerned about spin with short irons. So, I mean, they're very soft. Chipping to them is really easy too.
I made a birdie out of the first cut of rough today, and I was like, this is never going to happen again. I might as well enjoy it, because I got a feeling starting next year this will not be the same, because it was very playable. You know, it was we had enough room to drive it. And if you're driving it good, which I did today, I think I only missed 2 fairways, you can make some birdies because the greens are rolling absolutely perfect.
There was definitely under par out there today. Greens were holding. There was a slight breeze, enough to affect it, but you know, I thought overall it was playing pretty fair. It'll be interesting how they set it up on the weekend.
With the greens as receptive as they are, and you know, especially the first 2 holes on the front 9, you can get off to a good start and get your confidence up, and then you know, you've probably got less than, well, the first is a reachable par 4, you're pitching onto the second, and then you're hitting a 9-iron into the 3rd and 4th and 5th. So you know, there's definitely chances out there, but if you're offline, it's rough. But it's good. You have to hit a bad shot to miss the fairway and hit it in the high stuff. So I think you deserve to be fighting for pars and bogeys if you do hit that bad a shot.
One of the other contenders this week, at least early on, that is Big Brooks Koepka. Golf World waiting for the Florida State product to bust loose. Maybe it'll be this week. We'll look at his game when we come back live from the U.S. Open.